Hey guys, welcome back. I got the parts I need. As you saw, I got my new cylinder. Long story short, it's been a while since I got this cylinder because, well, it's been like 5 or 6 days because I was waiting on a new rebuild kit. The one I got originally accounted for 2.02 millimeters bigger, but now I got the new one and it's for the factory size. So this is actually factory size, so I needed a factory size top end rebuild kit. So we got the rebuild kit. I got my piston here ready to go. This oil control ring, I had to shave off one of the little nubs in there because it was too big. So I don't think that would hurt anything, but now it seems like it's exactly the right size. So my cylinder, or my piston fits right in there nicely into the, I can see that I already tried using my little ring compressor tool. It all fits in there nice and it slides up and down nicely. So the first thing to do is get one side of the circlip in and then put it onto the rod and put the piston onto the rod. And then use my compressor to slide the cylinder onto there. Make sure my cam chain guides are good. And then we'll start putting the head on. So I got a manual here with all the reassembly instructions queued up on my computer. So that's pretty nice. It should be pretty step-by-step. It says top end reassembly, so it's exactly what I need. My bench space here is pretty crowded. I got my 2 little circlips, and I do not want to lose these. That'd be really bad. Yeah, these are kind of difficult to put into these things. So if I can't remember right, you kind of just gotta use a needle nose pliers. Yeah, they're quite the pain to put in if I remember right. So you kind of just gotta work it. And if you lose control of it, it launches across the room. So I'm trying to avoid that. Or into your eyeball, one of the two. Man, can I get this thing in? I'm gonna watch a quick YouTube tutorial on how to get this in.
How to get a circlip in. I see a lot of people fighting with circlips all the time.
Oh, you made it so easy. Okay, let's try it. What little method there. Well, that worked amazing. I got the circlip in a matter of 5 seconds after watching the video. So now I can put it on the rod, slide my wrist pin in, and then get the other side put in while it's in the machine. So I have some engine assembly grease that we'll put on this wrist pin. Will help things not wear out so fast in the initial startup. I almost think I should have taken out this footwell. It made things a lot easier for me. Let's see. So the exhaust face down. So I actually put it on the correct side, so that's nice. Rod is nice and clean. Go ahead and slide this onto there with our wrist pin. Half the bat's not wanting to slide into there. It's like seized up right there. I can give it a couple tappy taps. So the piston's spinning, it's just, I don't like the way that's going in. Let's check our fitment just directly into the crank bearing, or rod crank here. See, it's almost like it's binding up on something there. See, I don't like that at all. So I can see that it's almost like scratching it. What I'm gonna do is take some Scotch-Brite, roll it up into a small roll, and just run it through there a couple times, just to kick down any burrs if there is any. I gotta make this tighter roll. Okay, rolled that up. I'm just gonna run that through there a couple times. I just wanted to clean that up a little bit. Okay, it's pretty clean now. Take that wrist pin and try it again. Nope, it's still binding. That's not good. It's not good at all. It's like right in the middle where it's binding. I can't quite figure out why. So I went and found the original wrist pin, and if you can see, it's kind of scratched right in the middle. Almost like there was some grit in there or something. So we're just gonna keep Scotch-Briting that and see if I can get that taken down. If not, we got some pretty big issues here. Yeah, I think it's not terrible, like it's barely even feelable. So the Scotch-Brite should take care of it. So I was able to get it where this wrist pin slides in and out nice and smoothly. There's absolutely zero play still, so I didn't remove too much material. In the center of that rod, there's like a little tiny bit of a burr, and I couldn't figure out why. But this might make you cringe, but I actually used a little Dremel, and I just barely kind of just worked around the middle of that, just like 1 or 2 passes. Then I went back through with the Scotch-Brite to knock anything down. We're gonna go with that. Let's go ahead and put my piston in finally. So this can go in like this. The exhaust arrow facing down. It should slide in like no problem now, which it does. All the way in. There we go. It's in there nicely. We gotta get that last circlip on. I want some way to hold this up. It's kind of annoying me. There we go. Okay. This, I almost wish I would have taken this fender off because it's really in my way. If I get a bungee, maybe it'll hold it that way. Okay, that's better. Now I got that thing bungeed away from me. So now get the last circlip in. Hopefully it'll go in nicely with my little screwdriver trick. Always start it in the most awkward position because then you don't have to finish in the awkward position. If that makes any sense to anybody. Probably doesn't, but I'm actually going to fill this. I should have done this before. Stuff rags in here like no tomorrow, because if you drop that circlip in there into the engine, you're cooked. Absolutely just cooked. And you don't even know. Got it in. Okay, so that's good. Now we can get our cylinder mating surface prepped. I want to make sure there's no gasket material left on that wall for that. So I'm going to use my little razor blade to get that off of there. I probably should have done this before I put the piston on, but I don't think like that, so make sure this is nice and clean for the base gasket. The shavings out of the friggin' engine should be preferred. I'll take some brake clean and a rag, wipe that off before I install my new base gasket. Here's our package for the rebuild kit, and in here we should have 2 gaskets, and the bottom one is going to be the base gasket. The thinner one will be your base gasket, and then the thicker one is obviously your head gasket with multiple layers, and this one's just got one. So this goes in facing the direction that it fits. So there's a little channel up here, so this obviously goes in order to make that fit. Now we can pull our rags out of here, and you got to slide this chain through here, as well as the chain guide. There's the gasket, fits nicely. Okay, so I gotta make sure to put this cylinder on, I gotta use this cheap ass ring compressor I got. Gonna go ahead and compress those. We got it on first try. Somebody's calling me at the worst time. Hi.
Can you come in, please?
Okay, now let's get this chain put up into here. Let's get this put in there. My chain just fell in here. It's okay though, because we got it. We can slide that on top of there. We got it in. We got the cylinder on, and the piston looks pretty nice in there. The cam chain hanging out there. So next thing to do after I eat dinner is get the head on, get it timed. Well, no, I gotta put this guide pin in, or this guide on, and then temporarily put these nuts on. I'll torque them down later. After you torque down the head, you torque down these, just so it doesn't get out of whack there. But yeah, time to go eat some dinner. I'll be right back. Well, I was just eating dinner on the way from the house. I went back out to the shed. I had my microphone on my shirt like this, except my other one had a black thing on it. But I only have 2 of these in a kit, and I must have dropped it on the way home, on the way out here. And I retraced my steps, and it's already all gone. So you can see we're getting tons of snow right now. It's just absolutely coming down. So my steps are already filled in. Like I can't even see where I walked anymore. So I got the cam chain guide on. Now I'm getting the head gasket on. Shouldn't be too bad. Let's just see. This has just got to go. Not sure it matters which way it goes. So I believe it goes like this. I got to take my little cam chain off of here. Feed it through here. So I found a little hook I can hook that to there, which is nice. That way I don't drop my cam chain back in the cylinder. Be a real pain in the butt. I'm actually going to carefully try and take these dowel pins out of this here so I can get this. Okay, looks like they're not wanting to come out, so that's going to stay in there like that, I guess. I was going to try and put these dowel pins in there so it kind of holds that gasket where it's got to go. But once I get this head in place, it shouldn't be too bad. So this surface is already perfectly clean. I know that for a fact. So basically all I got to do now is just drop this puppy in there. With our gasket installed, everything is ready to go. This is also going to be difficult to do because I don't want to lose my cam chain down into the engine because there's nothing really holding it up until I get my. So let's see, I'm trying to figure out what I can do about that. I really don't want to drop that in there. I think I might just temporarily screw this sprocket guide into this head once I get the chain wrapped around it. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll have that handy. Nothing else to do besides just go ahead and do it. Make sure my chain, that's my number 1 priority, is my chain. Just being extremely careful not to let that chain drop in there. Okay, chain's kind of bunching up. Little screw in here while I'm getting everything else flush and bolted in. That way that thing cannot go anywhere. Okay, that chain can't fall through now. So my head can just sit there nicely like that. So basically I gotta get this head put onto the two little dowel pins. This gasket I gotta get put on the two dowel pins. There's one. Okay. Looks like it kind of dropped in there. All right, so I was able to get the head torqued down. I did in the cross pattern as the manual suggests. Right here, suggests doing the manual or that diagonal pattern. So first I did 25 or 18 foot-pounds, and then I did the final torquing of 27 foot-pounds. So that's all torqued in place. It's nice and solid. But now what I got to do is follow the next step on the manual, and that is these little other bolts on this side over here, and that is these right here, and they are 10 millimeters, and they have to go in the cavity kind of surrounding the cam chain there. So looks like they get torqued to 7, and then there's no final. You just have to torque them to 7. So I gotta use my smaller torque wrench for them. I got a 3-pack of Tecton torque wrenches. I have a quarter inch, 3/8, and a 1/2 inch of Tecton torque wrenches. They're pretty nice. I fully apologize. I can't really get you guys any closer to this. It's hard to film, but let me grab a 10 millimeter here. Set this to 7 foot-pounds, 10 newton meters. So the shorter ones go toward the edge, and these longer ones go in these little holes right here. Just like so. So I'll get those ran down with a socket as far as I can until they're tight, and then we'll torque them down. So far it wants them done right there. Those are all in there and torqued to spec. So now I'm at the point where I gotta start timing this thing. So I gotta look down in this timing hole and with my light. You're gonna need a light to see that. Look down in there and rotate the engine over. Oh, what the heck? We're already perfectly lined up. Notch right in line with that hole. There's no way. So I'm just gonna take a double take and I'm gonna figure out if that's actually true, because there's no way that's true. I've been rotating this engine over a little bit. I'm just turning it over just to see what it looks like here. That is some good compression. Wow. All right, so this is all kind of difficult to film, but as you can remember, I timed that at top dead center right there, which it still is, and then I put this little cam sprocket gear in, as well as it was a couple times trial and error to get this lined up, because there's a little dot on the sprocket itself, and there's a little notch, and I got them perfectly lined up, so they're perfect. This engine's exactly timed, exactly how it's got to be. Right now what I'm doing is installing the tensioner right here for the cam chain, because this can't be this loose, it can't be that loose. But this is feeling good. I got that shim in there, so it doesn't have too much play. After I get that done, I'm going to start installing my cams and the cam gears and all the assemblies that go up here. So it's hard to film, but once I start putting things like coolant hoses on, I'll start filming again. But this little stuff is hard for you guys to see. Just topping off the antifreeze right now. I went ahead and this thing is ready to fire up. So I'm going to fire it up in real time, and you guys can see it. No edits, no nothing. You're going to see this thing run for the first time in probably a couple years. Keep taking antifreeze. We're almost to the top. We'll have to top it off once we run it a little bit too. We're going to go with that. We're going to run it. We're going to see how she runs. I cannot wait to fire this thing up. It's been long awaited. I'm going to check my parts table and make sure we don't have any parts laying around here that are important. I don't see anything actually. I've already kind of checked it out. I always do that. This is just a clutch cover for the little bolt over there. Exhaust is hooked up, intake's hooked up, fuel's hooked up, all the electrical connections are hooked up. It's got good oil, it's got coolant, it's got all the radiator lines hooked up. Everything, the cylinder head is bolted down, the little oil thing on top is done. So I don't know, I'm pretty sure this thing's gonna fire up right now. I cannot wait. I'm gonna pull it ahead a little bit, and we're gonna see if this thing will fire up. All right, we're pretty much free. I know it's in neutral. Even if it wasn't, it would still crank, so we're still in So here's real time. First time turning on the key. Okay, fuel pump just primed. Oh my God, I'm scared. No way. Oh my gosh. Look at that, boys. She's gonna smoke a little bit. Oh my God, boys, look at that. She freaking runs. All right, looks like we did it. It's smoking a little bit, but that's gonna be normal for a first startup. I think there was some water or oil or something in the exhaust, so it's gonna burn off. That should burn off, no problem. But yeah, she's definitely running good. If we had any leaks in the head gasket, we'd be seeing it right there. It looks like we're pretty good. See if it fires back up. Looking good. It is smoking a lot, so I'm gonna turn it off for now. Here's the King Quad all finished up, put back together. Sorry I kind of cut to the chase, but I just wanted to get it done. So instead of worrying about filming every part, I kind of just got it done. It's 95% done. One thing I gotta do is put a new seat cover on it. That should be here pretty soon. And it runs really good, but it kind of idles a little low. It'll ramp up. It'll ramp up in a couple seconds. It's almost like when you mess with the power steering, and it kind of just shuts off, or it seems like it's not getting a good ground to the battery. So I'm almost 95% sure I have a bad ground. There's a couple people with the same problem on YouTube, and what they had to do is run a new ground wire from the battery straight to the chassis or straight to the voltage regulator. So I'm going to do that. And also on the top end, it seems to kind of backfire just a tiny bit because I've been ripping it around in the snow and everything. Probably put 50 miles on it since I rebuilt it. It's running really good. Also painted up the racks, by the way. Really good. What was I saying? It backfires on the top end of the when you're at full RPMs. I think that injector that the guy gave me to put into it isn't as good as the OEM one. So I'm going to try swapping it back with the OEM one just because I know that wasn't the problem why I wasn't running. So, because you can kind of hear that throttle body making a lot of noise, like it's trying to suck air through the purposeful leak hole. Like there's a hole where it regulates how much air it's getting at idle. And it seems like it's trying to suck in as much air as it can. So I think it's running a little bit rich, which is why it kind of idles low and backfires a little bit at top end. So that'll be in a kind of a part 3, I guess. It's 95% done, but since it's a common problem, I think it'll do good as its own video just to fix that issue of it running kind of badly. So, but it really rips really good. I broke it in, of course, before I ripped too hard on it. I gave it a couple heat cycles on the engine, but like I said, kind of got to give it a little bit of throttle. I had to give it a little bit of throttle because it's not getting enough air. So you got to help it with a little bit of throttle. And then to also account for that, it's the power steering. So I think it's a combination of both those two problems that's going to fix this thing. But like I said, just about done. So I hope you enjoyed me fixing up this King Quad. It was quite a bit of work, probably 8 hours of wrenching on this thing, as well as about $650. So a little price overview. I bought it for $1,300 and paid about $650 for the repairs. So that's about $2,000, right? This thing is worth probably $4,000. So I'm gonna profit, and $4,000 in the spring I could easily sell for $4,500. I'm thinking. So that's a good $2,000 to $2,500 profit. And I mean, obviously there's some time in there, but I mean, it's winter. What else am I gonna do? Get a job that pays me $13 an hour? No, thank you. So I enjoy doing this and get a little money out of it. It's fun to see a machine that's been neglected just come back to life and put it all together just to have another life. So I really enjoy it. But stay tuned for that little fix on the engine running a little bit poorly at top end and at idle. I'll for sure be posting that, and hopefully it'll help out other people with the same problem, because I know it's a pretty common problem on these. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, give me a like. And if you really enjoyed, subscribe. And if I'm lucky, I'll catch you in the next one.